Every spring and summer, parents sign their children up for sports for the very first time. And while many parents have also grown up playing sports, others have never ventured into the athletic arena. A book entitled Introducing Your Child to Sports answers questions about the process and guides parents to raising balanced, healthy young athletes. Please welcome author and sports psychologist Dr. Ross Flowers. Welcome. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you for having me.
Your book is here, very readable, good kind of primer for anybody who's got a kid in sports. But I was looking at your background, USA World Cup, World Championship and Olympic teams, directed and founded the Applied Sports Psychology program at UC Davis, and you were a local athlete here, starting at Garfield High School. Tell us a bit about your own athletic career.
Well, I started sports when I was a young child. At 6 years old, I started playing soccer, and track and field eventually became the sport that I focused on. Was fortunate enough to go to Garfield High School and did pretty well in high school, won a few state championships, set a couple state records, then got a full ride scholarship on to UCLA.
Not a Husky. We're just so confused by that, but a Bruin. Okay, and just a wonderful athletic career, and then you went on to really study and focus in on the psychology of sports, not just for elite athletes who you do work with, but also for what we should know as parents with little kids. What prompted you to write this book? Well,
a variety of things. One, my own background as an student athlete. But really, I wanted to write something that was a professional resource for athletes, parents, and coaches to ask a lot of the questions that I've been asked as a sports psychologist, as a coach, and now as a parent of 3 boys myself. So I really wanted to give parents, coaches, and athletes a professional resource.
Good luck with that, Dr. Ross.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. So when you look at what parents have to deal with kids and with other parents and with the various pressures that come with raising a kid in sports, what do you think is the biggest don't do at this point?
Well, a lot of times as parents, we want our children to be better than we were, or better than we are. So we put so much energy and our passion into our children, and we can often forget that it's about the kids. So are we really pursuing the children's passion or our own passion?
Those are tough questions to be honest with yourself about, but so important. So what is the right way to go about this? And I love that you're coming at this from an analytical point of view with data points and your own experience. It's not just sort of an opinion, but what we know about what works best with kids.
Sure, and I think a very positive, healthy approach is, again, to follow your child's passion, but really introducing them to fundamentals of sport. We call it the ABCs. For example, agility, balance, and coordination. But really helping our kids find what they want to do, and as parents, support and encourage and motivate them, just identifying some of those fundamental skills that they want to develop, but how we can help and support them in that way.
Well, and when you say the ABCs, I hear great skills for life. They may not be a professional athlete, likely as not, they won't be, of course, but, being healthy and being active is something that we want to instill early on.
Yeah, these are life skills. A lot of what I talk about in the book, there are fundamentals, but they're life skills we're teaching kids. In sport, you can develop so many things, whether you are, a child starting soccer for the first time or an Olympic gold medalist. A lot of these fundamental skills that I talk about in the book are, for example, motivation. Where do you get confidence from? What are your strengths as a person, not just as an athlete, but as a person?
But as a person. And those things go together, right? The confidence that you feel about yourself, very closely tied and important to however you may feel about the thing that you do.
Absolutely. For example, if someone, a child or an athlete at any age, is pursuing a sport, hopefully they're identifying why they want to pursue it. So if there is, the example, or the idea that they want to become stronger. A lot of times we focus so much in sport on the physical attributes of being stronger, but you can also look at the mental and emotional side of being stronger. So can they adapt to changes in weather when they're competing? Can they adapt to a coach who may be a little more forceful in their conversation as opposed to supportive? So there's mental and emotional side of development that I think we can, as parents and supporters of our children's sport, be more aware of.
And how do we do that? Do we ask them directly? Do we be more watchful? Sometimes it's tough. My son, if you looked him directly in the eye, would stop talking. So, you had to find some roundabout ways to get in there to discuss these things.
Absolutely. I think sometimes as parents, we can listen more instead of trying to force information into our kids. Because a lot of times as kids, they'll just repeat what parents give them instead of giving them an opportunity to adapt and think on their own. So sometimes asking open-ended questions can be more helpful than telling our children what to do.
Sort of the what do you think you'll do about that question.
Right.
Is that what you mean?
Right.
Okay.
Teaching them how to think instead of what to think.
Exactly. All right. Now, sometimes, and I've heard this from lots of parents, the child may be putting a lot of pressure on themselves. They want to compete, they want to be the best, their friends are good, they take failure really badly, and that's, painful as a parent. So if a kid's kind of taking this more seriously than you think is good for them, what would be your advice?
Well, I think it always comes back to why do you want to pursue the sport? Or any activity. It could be any extracurricular activity, but it's helping them identify their passion, but also what are their strengths and how are they building their strengths. Many times in sport we get caught up in wins and losses. So an athlete wants to focus on winning every competition. Then a parent gets focused on, well, we've got to do this to win that next competition. Many times we can refocus that energy on what are you developing to become not just a better athlete, but a better individual. Then we're talking more about something that I think could be helpful for an individual long-term in life.
Yeah, well-rounded. What would you say to the high school you at this point? What do you wish you'd known?
Well, often I wish I could go back to that high school me.
Sounds like it was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. And if I could go back and talk to high school me, I'd probably tell me to slow down and really enjoy the ride.
That's probably good advice for a lot of us, right?
Yeah.
Just remembering that. And I don't know if you can tell anybody things like that, but it's interesting to know what the insight is. Thank you so much. Keep going with this and come back and visit when you're in town. We'd love to talk to you. We've posted more information on our website about Dr. Flowers and his incredible book, a must for any family with youngsters looking to play sports. And a bonus, Dr. Flowers brought books for everybody in the audience to take home. So you may have kids, grandkids. Enjoy it. Please stay tuned for some tasty ways to give snacks a super boost. We'll try a few of them right after this quick break.